So today's session is about pillars of health and longevity. So what is holistic health? Our bodies and each system within should be treated as a whole, not as collections of its parts. Holistic health addresses the mind, the body, and the spirit. So I would like to start off, I would like this to be a very interactive session. So I'm going to ask some questions. It's a poll question, so you should be able to click on your screen and answer. So the first poll question that I would like to ask is, what would you like? A longer lifespan, a healthier lifespan, a longer and healthier lifespan, or other? So, whoever is on Zoom, it would be great if you answered. Whoever is on live YouTube, unfortunately, you would not be able to join the poll sessions. And we will end the poll session in about 20 seconds. So thank you, everyone. The results are as follows. 6% say they want a longer life, which is excellent. 53% they said they want a healthier life, which is very good. 47% said a longer and a healthier life, and 12% said other. So this session is actually going to cover how we can get a healthier lifestyle. At the same time, when we have a much healthier lifestyle, it is very likely that we will also have a longer life. So if you are looking for a longer life, does that just mean that we will have more sick years where we will be in bed with Alzheimer's? Nobody wants that. However, the reality is that as we get older, the risk of horrible diseases, things like diabetes, cancer, arthritis, all those sorts of things increase exponentially. The point of slowing aging and extending human lifespan is to extend the healthy lifespan. Can we slow aging in humans? Can we extend the lifespan and the health span? That is what we are going to look into over the next 8 weeks in this series of 5 pillars of holistic health and longevity. Now, we go over to poll question number 2. So the question is, what are you willing to do to achieve a healthier and perhaps a longer lifespan? Number 1 is pay for stem cell infusions so that your body rejuvenates. The second is pray for a miracle. And the third is commit to making small but sustainable lifestyle changes. We have 20 seconds to answer this question. So we will end the poll now. And the results are as follows. Two people mentioned pay for stem cell infusions. Two people mentioned pray for a miracle. And mostly everyone said we are committed to making small but sustainable lifestyle changes so that we can have a healthy lifespan, which is brilliant. Paying for stem cells is a good idea. However, you pay thousands and there is only 1 or 2% of the stem cells that are injected actually work. Praying for miracle is obviously a great thing, but the most important thing is committing to making small but sustainable lifestyle changes. This series is all about making small but sustainable lifestyle changes to achieve a healthier span, which may also result in a longer lifespan. It is tempting to think that with enough omega-3s, kale and blueberries, you could eat your way there. We will learn in this series, whilst we look at the world's healthiest people and anti-aging science, that it is not just about food. My presentation is not intended to provide medical advice. It is intended for informational purposes only. Please kindly note, I'm not from the medical field, but my research is based on the work of scientists and medical professionals. If you decide to make changes, please do consult with your GP. My presentation is based on my own experience and in no way implies that this is a universal cure, as I recognize that each individual is unique. Now let's look at age and multi-morbidity. So if we look at this first chart, some people have 0 or 1 to 2 disorders from a very, very young age. But if you look at the chart, the graph really goes up from about the age of 50. When someone reaches about the age of 65, it goes up significantly. So most people have 2, 3, 4, or up to 8 disorders. And by the time, if we do reach 85 plus, we would have probably 6 to 8 disorders each. Now I'm going to go to the third poll question. And the question is all about, think of someone who is over 65, someone close. And if you are over 65, you can answer on your behalf. If you know of someone who is over 65, how many medications does that person take every day for chronic illnesses? How many medications does someone take who is over 65 every day for chronic illnesses? We will finish this poll in 10 seconds. Thank you. So if we look at it, someone is over 65, only one medication, which is actually very good, would be 17%. Taking between 1 to 2, another 17%, 3 to 5, that's 30%, and 6 or more is 35%. And this is the reality of life, where people end up taking a lot of medication. So if we look at how many pills people take by age group, you will see that once someone turns 50, the number of medicines taken every day increases significantly. When you cross 60, it increases even more. The number of people taking 10 or more medications starts increasing from 60, 70, 80, 90, it continues to grow. Now just think about it. If somebody is taking 15 medicines every day, that means someone is taking 450 medicines per month, and that means that someone is taking 5,000 medicines per year. Just think about the amount of side effects that that person could have. So here we look at what is happening to the world in terms of diseases. We have reached the point globally where we are now sicker than in any other time in our history. We are dealing with a tsunami of lifestyle-related chronic health conditions, from diabetes to dementia to coronary heart disease, even some cancers. The answer is so often found in the prescription pad. We are spending more money on healthcare than ever before. Something clearly is not working. We will look at two health models. The first health model is prescribing a pill for every ill. The doctor is the architect of your health. In England alone, 1 billion prescriptions are dispensed each year at a cost of £8.5 billion. There are pills for all sorts of things. There is also a pill for shopping addiction. Behind the scenes, Big Pharma is funneling an illness-based model of healthcare. We are dealing with calamitous and catastrophic consequences of the pill for every ill. An estimated 237 million medication errors occur in the NHS every year. Researchers say avoidable adverse drug reactions, ADRs, could be a contributory factor to anywhere between 1,700 and 22,000 deaths every year. Now, is this the only way we are medicating ourselves? No. We continue. Our bodies are constantly producing chemical reactions to everything we think, we feel, and we do. And just like other forms of medication, our thoughts and our actions have the ability to not only heal and enhance our life, they also have the ability to make us extremely ill. If you spend time around a growing child, you will see how powerful these chemicals we call hormones actually are. But these are the same chemical hormones that are cascading from our bodies throughout our entire lives. The word hormone literally means to set in motion. That's exactly what the chemicals they set into motion in the various systems within the body. It's easy to see how our choices in life matter, but quite often it is harder to see how our choices equate to result in good or bad health. The second health model is prescribing lifestyle as medicine. You are in control. You are the architect of your health. What happens to our body in 60 seconds? The body will perform millions of complex functions automatically and flawlessly. You will take about 15 breaths. Your heart will beat 70 times. Your tear ducts will moisten your eyes 25 times. 6 million chemical reactions will occur in your brain. Your bone marrow will produce 180 million blood cells and destroy the same amount. You will shed 10,000 particles of skin and 300 million cells will die. Over your lifetime, your body will work countless mini miracles to keep you breathing, moving, thinking, and living. That is what is really important. The human body is one of the most extraordinary healing and regenerating systems that nature has ever produced. So why is it difficult for people to take responsibility for their own health? We are more focused in taking care of our physical possessions, like our smartphones, our cars, our properties, than we are of ourselves, our physical and mental well-being. It is said that 80% of chronic disease is lifestyle related. This simply means that it could be prevented with simple and cheap lifestyle strategies. These strategies really aren't complicated. In fact, it's the small, actionable steps that often produce the best results. You must have heard about blue zones. For more than a decade, Dan Buettner worked to identify hotspots of longevity around the world. With the help of National Geographic Society, Buettner set out to locate places that not only had high concentrations of individuals over 100 years old, but also clusters of people who had grown old without health problems like heart disease, obesity, cancer, or diabetes. The first of these centers is Loma Linda, California. This community, about 55 miles east of Los Angeles, is largely made up of Seventh-day Adventists who outlive their American counterparts by about a decade on average, live 10 years more. The second one is Nicoya, Costa Rica. In this Central American peninsula, 60-year-old men are nearly 5 times more likely to go on to become centenarians than 60-year-old Americans are. The third one is Sardinia, Italy. A cluster of villages in the central eastern part of this island contain the planet's highest concentration of men who live to or beyond the age of 100. The fourth blue zone is Ikaria, Greece. More than 30% of the residents of this island live to be at least 90 years old. They have much lower rates of depression and dementia. And the fifth blue zone is Okinawa, Japan. About 65 people in 100,000 people are centenarians, a ratio that is amongst the highest on earth. Women live longer in Okinawa than anywhere else in the world. So these people who are in these blue zones, what life do they lead? Just give you a few examples. Dr. Ellsworth Wareham, a 104-year-old doctor, no cancer, no dementia, no heart disease. He used to perform 20 open heart surgeries every month at the age of 100. He was one of the earliest practitioners of open heart surgery. He died at the age of 104. Marge then, she was 104 years old. She started the day by lifting weights, rode her bicycle, and volunteered at 104 years for 7 different organizations. We talk about Stamatis. His sort of nickname, people remember him as the man who almost forgot to die. In the 1970s, he was diagnosed with lung cancer and doctors predicted his death. He refused chemotherapy and medication. He returned to Ikaria and led the Icarian lifestyle. He lived 40 years after his doctor prescribed expiration date. He died peacefully and not from cancer at the age of 98. Maria Castillo, Costa Rica, 110 years old, full of energy. She did not look a day over 75. She lived in a wooden shed in the tropical forest. She shared the house with her oldest son, Pablo, 93, who would soon move out to live with his new girlfriend at the age of 93. She served as the village's medicine woman and she prescribed traditional herbal medicines. Now let's look at the science, the genes and the epigenetic changes. Science tells us 20% is genetic, 80% is epigenetic. Every cell has a set number of genes. In every one of our cells, there are the same number of genes, but they aren't all switched on at the same time. They need to be kept on or off and tell what type of cell is in the liver or what type of cell is in the brain. David Sinclair, an anti-aging scientist, biologist, started research. And his research was, why do yeast cells grow old? And they concluded that one of the reasons is the genes start to switch on as they grow older. After a week, when all the genes start to come on, the yeast cells died. This led to a discovery of a longevity gene called SIR2, stands for Silent Information Regulator 2. They discovered that there are 7 of these longevity genes in our bodies. We call them sirtuins. These sirtuins seem to protect our body against the diseases of aging. So this is a new idea about aging. As we get older, genes are switched on and off in the wrong way. The problem during aging is that chemicals come in and stick to the histones in our cells, and the histones are where the DNA is packaged in, and then they turn the genes on. This is what is called the epigenetic change, and this change is actually reversible. So how can we reverse this? These sirtuins actually make proteins. And what do these proteins do in our bodies? They clip off these chemical groups. And now the gene that was in the old person goes off again, which was switched on inadvertently. And that's what the sirtuins are doing in our bodies right now. They're stimulated naturally when we don't eat and when we exercise. If we eat a large pizza, we shut them down again. So why does it work? It isn't because more blood flows or just being hungry is more healthy for the body. When the chemicals are clipped off, our longevity genes get turned on. When we don't eat, when we exercise, the body senses adversity and wants to fight back. It thinks that it won't get any food and it might die next week. Or when we are running, when we are exercising, it thinks that a lion or a tiger may be behind us. This is survival mode. This turns this longevity gene on. The sad thing is, we spend all our lives trying to reduce our adversity, being comfortable. We don't want to be hungry, nor do we want to be puffed. No wonder we are getting sicker and sicker. We are in a world of convenience, and it's the worst thing we could do for our bodies in terms of longevity. Now let's look at another science, telomeres. The authors of the book say you have far more control over your own aging than you may imagine. Telomeres are structures at the tips of chromosomes that play a key role in cellular aging. Telomeres sit at the end of the strands of DNA, like protective caps on shoelaces. Stress from a rough lifestyle will shorten those caps, making it more likely that cells will stop dividing and essentially die. These telomeres shorten each time a cell divides. As we age, some of the body's cells enter a state called senescence, in which a cell stays alive but stops dividing. Now, these senescent cells, they produce molecules that lead to inflammation. This is a huge risk factor for every age-related disease. Mice in which the senescent cells were cleared delayed showing signs of aging. The author Elizabeth Blackburn says, lengthening telomeres with medication could be dangerous. Lifestyle changes are far safer than a pill. So friends, that was the introduction for this week. Next week, we will look at the first pillar of holistic health and longevity. In the first pillar, all the 5 pillars starts with a M. The first pillar is mouth. And within that pillar, the first topic that we are going to look at is fasting. Within fasting, we will cover longevity. We will cover reversal of chronic illnesses. We will cover different types of fasts, intermittent fasting, water-only fasting, 3-day fasting. We will also cover fasting mimicking diets, fasting, blood glucose and insulin, fasting and autophagy, fasting and weight loss. Last but not least, food for thought. The human body is one of the most extraordinary healing and regenerating systems that nature has ever produced. Survival mode turns longevity genes on. Your DNA is not your destiny, your lifestyle is. You have more control over your own aging than you may imagine. Thank you very much, everyone.